What if the mess in your home isn't a failure of discipline, but a signal your life is asking to be tended to daily? Not minimized, not downsized, just maintained. We've been told a story that tidiness is for people with tiny apartments, white walls, and almost nothing to clean. That daily tidying belongs to minimalists, to microhomes, to people whose lives look nothing like ours. But here's the quiet truth most people never hear. Daily tidying isn't about how small your home is. It's about how present you are inside it. Because clutter doesn't begin on countertops. It begins in unfinished moments, unmade decisions, delayed attention. And today, we're going to dismantle the myth that mindful maintenance is only for small spaces. This video isn't about perfection. It's not about aesthetic homes or rigid routines. It's about learning how daily, gentle upkeep can transform not just your space, but your energy, your focus, and your peace. Whether you live in 1 room or 10, whether your life feels calm or chaotic, this practice meets you where you are. Let's begin. Section 1. What daily tidying really means. When most people hear the phrase daily tidying, their shoulders tense, because in their mind, it immediately translates to hours lost, buckets dragged out, the sharp smell of bleach, sweat, exhaustion, and that quiet resentment that comes from feeling like you're always cleaning and never finished. Daily tidying has been confused with daily cleaning, and that misunderstanding is exactly why people resist it. But mindful maintenance is none of that. Daily tidying is not about scrubbing. It's not about disinfecting. It's not about erasing every trace of life. Daily tidying is about resetting the space to neutral, resetting your environment so it stops asking things from you, resetting your mind at the end of the day. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until your mouth hurts. You don't wait for decay, pain, or a crisis. You brush because you understand something simple but powerful. Small, consistent care prevents big, painful interventions later. In the same way, daily tidying prevents emotional overwhelm. It prevents decision fatigue, the exhaustion that comes from constantly seeing things you should deal with. It prevents that low-grade background stress you carry all day without realizing why you feel tense in your own home. And here's the key distinction. Daily tidying is not about what hasn't been done in months. It's only about what was used today. The shoes you wore returned to their place. The cup you drank from washed or rinsed. The bag you dropped by the door hung up instead of left as a future problem. The surface that collected today's activity cleared just enough to feel open again. No perfection. No deep organization. No scrubbing floors on a random Tuesday night. Just restoration. 5 minutes. Sometimes less. And those minutes may feel insignificant until you realize they don't disappear. They compound. They save you hours later. They save you emotional energy. They save you from waking up already behind. The weekend cleaning trap. Most people live inside the same cycle, whether they realize it or not. Monday through Friday, life moves fast. You wake up already thinking ahead. You rush. You multitask. You survive. Things get dropped where they land not because you're careless, but because you're busy. A jacket on a chair. Mail on the counter. Shoes kicked off wherever your feet stop. And you tell yourself the same sentence every time. I'll deal with it on Saturday. Saturday comes, but Saturday doesn't arrive fresh. It arrives carrying the weight of the entire week. You're already tired. Your body wants rest. Your mind wants relief. But instead, you're faced with piles that didn't exist all at once. They accumulated quietly, day by day. Now cleaning feels like punishment, not for being messy but for simply living. You scrub. You sort. You catch up. And somewhere between folding laundry and wiping surfaces, resentment creeps in. Resentment toward the mess. Resentment toward the house. And sometimes, quietly, resentment toward yourself. Then the week begins again. By Wednesday, things are already slipping. By Friday, you're overwhelmed, and the promise of Saturday returns. Daily tidying breaks this cycle, but not by asking you to do more. It breaks it by asking you to do less, more often. So mess never gets the chance to pile up into something heavy. So cleaning no longer feels like atonement. So weekends can be for rest, not recovery. Section 2. Why this isn't just for microhomes. Microhomes didn't invent daily tidying. They were simply forced into it. When you live in a small space, disorder announces itself immediately. There's nowhere for it to hide. A single plate on the counter feels loud. One pile on the floor feels overwhelming. So people in small homes learn quickly that daily maintenance isn't optional. It's survival. But in larger homes, mess behaves differently. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It spreads slowly into spare rooms, into corners you don't pass every day, into drawers you close and promise yourself you'll deal with one day. Extra space creates the illusion of control, but often it creates delay. The problem isn't that your home is too big. It's that big spaces allow avoidance to feel harmless. More space often means more postponement, more later, more things left unresolved. Daily tidying isn't about controlling space. It's about maintaining a relationship with it. Because your home is not a static container. It's not a box that holds your life without responding. It's a living environment. It absorbs neglect. It reflects attention. It either supports you or quietly drains you. Ignore it long enough, and it begins to feel heavy, dull, resistant. Care for it daily, and it supports you quietly, without applause, without effort, without drama. Section 3. The psychology of maintenance. There's something about clutter that most people don't realize. Clutter creates what psychologists call open loops in the brain. Every unfinished task, a pile you haven't sorted, a surface you haven't cleared, a corner you keep avoiding, it stays mentally active. Even when you're not consciously looking at it, your brain knows it's there. That's why clutter feels loud. It's not visual noise. It's cognitive noise. Your mind is constantly tracking unresolved things, even when you're trying to rest. Daily tidying closes those loops. Each small reset tells your nervous system something powerful. This is handled. You don't need to monitor this. You can let go. And this relief is especially important for people who work from home and can't escape their environment, carry emotional or mental load for others, are creatives whose minds already run fast, are overstimulated by screens, noise, and constant input. For these people, clutter isn't neutral. It's draining. Maintenance isn't about control. It's about relief. It's about creating pockets of quiet in a loud world. Section 4. The mindful shift. From cleaning to care. Cleaning speaks a certain language. It says, this space is dirty. This is wrong. This needs to be fixed. Maintenance speaks differently. It says, this space matters. This deserves attention. This supported me today. When you tidy daily with intention, you're not rushing to erase evidence of living. You're acknowledging it. You cooked here. You worked here. You rested here. You existed here. And now, you reset the space, not because it failed, but because it served you. This shift from punishment to care is everything. It's the difference between a habit you resent and a practice you return to. It's what makes daily tidying sustainable. Section 5. Step by step. The daily tidying practice. Now let's ground this in something practical. This is not a rigid checklist. It's not something you measure or perfect. It's a rhythm that fits into real life. Step 1. Choose a closing time. Every day needs an ending. Not bedtime, but a transition. A moment where the day is acknowledged and gently put away. For some people, it's right after dinner. For others, it's before evening rest. For some, it's right before they change clothes. Choose one consistent moment. This isn't about timing, it's about symbolism. You're telling your body and your space, the active part of today is complete. No rushing, no perfection, just closure. Step 2. Start with surfaces, not storage. Surfaces carry energy. Tables, counters, chairs, desks. They are where life lands first and where stress accumulates fastest. Clearing a surface creates immediate calm because it restores visual order. Do not open drawers. Do not reorganize storage. Do not deep clean. Simply remove what doesn't belong. Return items to their homes or give them a temporary home if they don't have one yet. This alone can change the emotional temperature of a room in minutes. Step 3. Reset the most used zone. Every home has a heartbeat. The space that gets used the most, the space you'll see first tomorrow morning. The kitchen counter, the living room couch, the bedside table. Choose one zone, not the whole house, not every room. Ask yourself one question: what would make tomorrow feel easier? Then do only that. Stop there. Step 4. Make it sensory, not strict. Your body remembers how things feel, so let daily tidying feel calm. Lower the lights. Play soft music. Light a candle or open a window. This isn't indulgent, it's strategic. You're teaching your nervous system that maintenance equals safety, not pressure. That's how habits stick. Step 5. Stop before you're tired. This is the most important step. Daily tidying works because it ends early. 5 minutes. 10 at most. You stop while it still feels gentle, while it still feels respectful, because you're not trying to conquer your home. You're building trust with yourself. And trust grows when you stop before burnout. Section 6. Real-life examples. Example 1. The busy household. Imagine a household bustling with children, backpacks, and constant activity. Every surface is a landing zone. Toys on the floor, socks under chairs, half-read books on the couch. A family like this doesn't need a spotless home, they need predictable resets. Each evening, after the chaos of homework, dinner, and playtime, everyone spends 5 minutes together tidying. The toys go back into bins. Shoes are placed neatly at the door. Cups are rinsed and placed in the sink. Not perfect. Not exhaustive. Just prepared. And the beauty is subtle. Children begin to internalize care as normal, ongoing, and gentle. Not as an overwhelming task that only happens when parents are exasperated on Saturday. Imagine a child gently picking up a toy, smiling because it's expected and easy. The home breathes, and the family breathes with it. Example 2. The single adult with a big home. A large home can be deceptive. Empty rooms and wide hallways can hide clutter, dust, or neglected corners. It's easy to live in one wing and forget the rest. Daily tidying here is about circulation. Walk through unused rooms once a day. Open the curtains to let in light. Straighten a chair. Return items to their place, or fluff pillows. It's not about deep cleaning. It's about showing presence. Even the smallest touch prevents decay both in your environment and in your relationship to your home. Rooms don't become strangers. They remain alive, welcoming, and ready to support you. Imagine opening a guest room you haven't used in months, only to find it warm, orderly, and inviting. That's the quiet magic of mindful maintenance. Example 3. The overwhelmed creative. Creatives often live in a paradox. Their minds are overflowing with ideas, but their physical spaces reflect chaos. A cluttered desk can feel like mental static. Visual noise becomes cognitive friction, and inspiration slows down. Daily tidying here is not about control, it's protecting mental clarity. Clear the desk at the end of the day. Wash that coffee cup. Stack the papers. Put away tools. You're telling your brain, you're allowed to stop now. You can rest. Tomorrow, you can create again. The act itself is meditative. It restores permission to pause. It restores permission to exist without guilt. Section 7. Why weekly cleaning isn't enough. Weekly cleaning is a reaction. It treats symptoms. It fixes the visible mess. But it rarely addresses the underlying rhythm of life that generates clutter. Daily tidying treats the cause. Skip daily maintenance, and your weekend cleaning becomes a marathon. Hours are spent undoing the week. Resentment builds. Motivation wanes. Keep up with daily care, and cleaning becomes lighter. Sometimes, it's almost unnecessary. The difference is like walking through a garden every morning versus letting weeds grow all week and then trying to clear them in a single afternoon. This isn't about doing more work. It's about redistributing effort. Small acts every day replace exhausting resets. It's strategic energy management. Section 8. Common resistance and how to move through it. I don't have time. You don't need hours. You need a transition. 5 minutes is enough. 5 minutes replaces scrolling, replaces mental clutter, replaces that low-grade anxiety you carry because things aren't done. A short, mindful reset can be more powerful than an hour of rushed cleaning. My house is too big. Exactly. Big spaces amplify neglect, but they also amplify calm when cared for. A single drawer straightened, a table cleared, or curtains opened can transform the atmosphere of an entire floor. Presence matters more than perfection. I'll start when things slow down. Life rarely slows down. Your emails keep arriving. Your children keep playing. Your work keeps demanding attention. Daily tidying is your pause in the storm. It's the deliberate, gentle assertion, I can end this day with order. I can end this day with care. Section 9. The deeper impact. Something subtle but profound happens when you tidy daily. You begin to finish days with intention. You don't collapse into bed surrounded by chaos. You close the day consciously, with respect for yourself and your environment. Wake up less anxious. The day doesn't begin with visual reminders of unfinished tasks. Your morning energy starts calm, not frazzled. Respect your future self. Returning shoes, putting away cups, clearing surfaces, these small acts are gifts to tomorrow's you. Feel held by your environment. Your home becomes supportive, not draining. It doesn't judge or shout. It simply allows you to live, rest, and create. Your home stops feeling like a burden. It starts feeling like a partner. Not perfect, not staged, just quietly, reliably supportive. Mindful maintenance isn't about controlling life. It's about meeting it every day with care. You don't need a smaller home. You don't need fewer things. You need a daily moment where you pause, breathe, and say, this space matters. And so do I. Tonight, don't clean your whole house. Just reset one surface. One room. One ending. Notice how tomorrow feels. Notice how small care compounds into calm. If this message resonated with you, like this video, it helps more people find it. Subscribe for more thoughtful living content. And in the comments, share what space in your home needs a gentler kind of care. Until next time, tend what holds you.